Once the centerpiece of East-West rivalry, Afghanistan has lost its strategic import and has descended into a humanitarian abyss. But to hold Afghanistan impassively at a distance is to imperil our interests. Such key areas as Central and South Asia, the Middle East, even the Balkan states. Therefore, I commend the administration under the able leadership of Assistant Secretary Raffel, which has made a priority of restoring a measure of stability to Afghanistan. The hearings before our committee this week should contribute significantly to our understanding of the situation. Once again, I commend the Chair for having embarked on this course. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We're fortunate to have Congressman Rohrabacher from California, who has made a number of trips to Afghanistan. Join us, Congressman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a few questions for the panel, but first I would like to say that obviously I was in Afghanistan during the war, and I think Charlie Wilson was about the only other congressman that was actually there during the war. And I remember my hike to Jalalabad from Peshawar, and which was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. And as we hiked into the scene of the battle, and it was night, and you could see the cannons going off, and I had a group of about 15 mujahideen with me, and that was commendable in itself. They were willing to risk their lives for me, to protect me, because I wasn't a gunman, obviously. And in the middle of this trek, a young man who was probably 16 years old came to my side, carrying his AK-47 over his shoulder, and he said to me, you come from the United States? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, you're in politics in the United States? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, are you an elephant or a donkey? And I am wearing my elephant tie in his honor today. I would just like to note that that young man in the middle of Afghanistan, in the middle of the war, who probably had to, and not probably, but was foregoing his education in order to defend his country, knew more about the United States of America than any American knows about Afghanistan. This young man knew the symbols of our political parties. This young man could play an incredible role in rebuilding his country if we can get the AK-47 off of his shoulder. Afghanistan is filled with very proud, very courageous people, and it is a tragedy that their time is being consumed in conflict, in destruction, rather than in reconstruction and rather than rebuilding. And I pray that that young man is still alive. And I know, and if he is alive, what we're doing today is trying to work together to give him a better chance for a future. And I believe that all the people who've spoken to us today and the witnesses that we will all have that same purpose in heart. And I hope that we can, the United States, can serve as a catalyst to try to get things moving. Now, I know people think that Dana Rohrabacher is just an advocate of the king coming back to Afghanistan and using the king as an umbrella. I will tell you this, anyone who can do that job, anyone who can pull people together to talk honestly with each other will have my support as an American. The only reason that I have been suggesting Zahir Shah is it seems to me he is one man that no one's afraid of because he will die soon. He is, after all, an older man, and that people don't have anything to fear from him. That's why I've been advocating. But if there is someone else, if there is another vehicle, let's talk about it today when we have people representing all sides and see if we can come to some kind of conclusion where we are talking together to make sure that that young man in Afghanistan who knew so much about the United States can have a good future, and that we can start digging up the landmines that cripple the children, and that we have a witness that should have been, here, General Abdul Malik. His brother was killed, and he had to go back because his brother was killed. We don't need any other family members that are killed in Afghanistan. The people of Afghanistan have lost too many of their relatives, too many of their sons and their daughters and their husbands. We don't need any more of that. And this is a situation now, we let it go too long, and I hope that today from this hearing that we can convince people to start a dialogue, and if it's not under the king, maybe under somebody else, that will lead to a stable government, the digging up of the landmines so more children don't lose their lives. And with that, let me just ask a question. Is there a leading figure, is there an individual, I'm just as though the panel as a whole, other than the Zahir Shah, who is known by all Afghans, is there someone else that I don't know about, that has sort of, that could serve this purpose, that people could just come under and talk under his umbrella and know that this person wouldn't be vindictive because of the things of the war? Please feel free. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think to respond to what Congressman
10 minutes.
asked, I think the international community has already agreed that one of the basic principles for resolving the conflicts as such is to respect the will of the nation. I think the problem is that the people of Afghanistan have not had the right chance to express their opinion as to the particular circumstances which has led to confrontation and bloodshed. I think we would be in a much better position to avoid any kind of concern about the future political situation of Afghanistan if we are to create the right kind of atmosphere under which the people of Afghanistan will express their opinion. In such a situation, which is a democratic process, no one could be excluded. I think it is up to the people to decide whom they should and whom they would like to choose for the leadership of Afghanistan.
That beep that I just got, to let you know, that means that as a member of Congress, I have to go and vote on a piece of legislation on the floor, and I apologize for that. Senator Brown had to go and vote as well, and that's why we're in and out. I will be back, and I apologize for interrupting this. Let me note, right before I came here, I was in a small meeting with the President of Uzbekistan. And the President of Uzbekistan, when he heard that I was going to go to a meeting in which we would be discussing Afghanistan, you should have seen his face. It lit up and he said, please, please focus on Afghanistan, because he realized, and anyone who understands that region of the world understands, there will be no prosperity in Central Asia. There will be no peace in Central Asia until the turmoil in Afghanistan comes to an end and that peace and prosperity is brought back to the people of Afghanistan. All of Central Asia relies on this. And if Central Asia turns into a cauldron of turmoil and drug production and gangsterism, it will be because the West ignored Afghanistan. I will do my best to work with you, Senator, and with all of the factions in Afghanistan to see that we can bring peace. I will be back, and thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you, Congressman. I do have one question. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge the great kindness of Commander Massoud on my visit to your country. It was a delightful visit. He could not have been more gracious, and a very interesting time period. I was interested particularly in your comments with regard to the almost futile effort, I guess, to impose an arms embargo. And my question is, what should we be thinking about in the way of encouraging the countries that surround Afghanistan to end what some have called their interference in the country?
Mr. Chairman, I think the resolutions which have been adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in the last at least 3 General Assemblies, they have all emphasized on the need for the discontinuation of foreign interference in Afghanistan, recognizing the interferences of outside in our internal affairs as one of the most outstanding causes of the continuation of the conflict. It gives the United Nations Special Mission the mandate to search for ways and means of putting an end to the foreign interference. As far as our position is concerned, we have made it on numerous occasions crystal clear that there are circles outside Afghanistan who are continuously providing training, armaments, and financial supports to one of the opposition group which has created an explosive situation in a number of provinces under their control presently. The United Special Mission, they also have a clear vision as far as the interference is concerned. Mahmoud Mistiri, the head of the previous head of the United Special Mission for Afghanistan, in the report that he submitted before the Security Council about a couple of months ago, explicitly stated the Pakistani circles as having a hand in the interference in the internal affairs of Afghanistan. I think the United States, the West in general and the United States in particular, through bilateral channels and multilateral channels, within the framework of the United Nations and also on bilateral levels, could bring about the right kind of pressure on the government of Pakistan to cooperate with the situation of Afghanistan. There are some statements made by Pakistani leaders that they are saying that we are not interfering in Afghanistan. We want them to interfere in Afghanistan, but on the side of peace, not on the side of continuation of conflict. Therefore, what I would suggest is that the United States and the other Western countries should come up with a clearer stand based upon the realities, based upon the facts which has been collected by the special mission, and adopting a more responsive attitude and trying to secure an end to an interference in our internal affairs. Of course, there are other countries, in one way or another, they may have a kind of leverage on the situation. When we say Pakistan, it is not only Pakistan, but there are some other countries who would like to benefit from the situation. So as soon as the interferences of Pakistan in the internal affairs of Afghanistan is over, there would be no room for others to try to take advantage of the situation. I think so.
Thank you. Let me thank the panel very much for their comments. They're most helpful, and we look forward to further discussions as the week progresses. We appreciate your coming. Yes, do you have?
Mr. Chairman, on a side issue, when I was making this statement, I was under a kind of time restriction. Therefore, I skipped some parts of the statement. The full text of my statements in English and also in Dari is available in the back of the room, should anyone be interested. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I would urge all of you to check the back of the room, because it's quite right. There will be good information available there, and we look forward to our discussions later this week. Good. Thank you. Also, I might mention that the entire subject of your remarks, the entire remarks will be included in full in the record of the meeting as we go forward. Among the groups that were invited included the Taliban. They have been unable to made a decision not to appear publicly, but they did submit a statement, and I would like the staff, if you would, to come read the statement. We'll also make copies of it available in the back of the room as well.
Mr. Chairman, out of curiosity, what reason did they give for not appearing in person?
Apparently there was some mix-up in the delivery of the invitation. They indicated the government back in Afghanistan had not received copies of it. We did confirm with the State Department that they had sent it, so there was some mix-up there, and we, of course, extended a personal invitation when we found out about the mix-up, but apparently, at least at this point,